US and Asia. The protocol, I think, is already submitted for the FDA and waiting for approvals. Then hopefully move into a phase 2, phase 3 in untreated pancreatic cancer, which Eileen will talk about. Randomized phase 3 trial, very possible in HCC. And definitely look for the ASS deficiency and proficiency. Maybe we should start dissecting the information of the population as such, and separate the trial of Asia versus US. There's some debate about that based on the data that we came up with. You might wonder, if anything, why Memorial would be interested in all of this. And I think Morgan is right. We have the choice. Humbly speaking, we are called by every company before anywhere else, and we can very much pick up and choose whatever we like to work on. We have that luxury, and it's a blessing to have. And we decided to do that for many reasons, because metabolomics are not really out of fashion. If anything, they probably are coming back into fashion. There's quite a bit of science behind the ADI-20. The drug has a long history with Memorial and with the development. And add to this, we are committed. We like to get into a story, and we like to see what we can do to improve on that story. If anything, we're honored that it was started only with one person, myself doing studies on ADI-20, and we have now at least 4 of us in GI that are doing, if not more, ADI-20 studies. So this is really a very, very strong commitment on the institution level in regard to the ADI-20, with the hope that we will answer all those questions that they're seeing in front of you. To complete the story, however, I'll give a very quick brief about the other things happening. But of course, we cannot leave the room without talking about immunotherapy. This is becoming a requirement. So, obviously, checkpoint inhibitors are highly expressed in HCC, both in the cancer cells as well as in the environment. So no doubt there's a very big argument here that they could be of value, and data has shown so. If anything, I have to say that checkpoint inhibitors were really contemplated about in HCC more than any other disease for a long while, but the nerving thing is the hepatitis, because always the fear is that the hepatitis might be activated. However, finally that happened. Actually, nice work from Anthony Alqueri from University of Southern California that he presented at ASCO last year in 2015, and shown here the response rate of about 19% for nivolumab that currently is ongoing in the phase 3 trial of nivolumab versus sorafenib in first-line setting. So, as you can see here, this is really where the field is going, trying to see if it can replace multi-tyrosine kinase inhibitors. We are part of this. Actually, I'm on the steering committee for that study globally, and we'll just have to wait and see the answers. But it's not necessarily the only thing that should be followed in regard to HCC development. And lastly, however, I probably alluded to it in only one component of ADI-20, which is the ASS sufficient, proficient, or deficient cells. And same thing here. There's some custom-made activity that should occur ultimately. This is work that Jim Harding from our group presented at ASCO, showing the genetic makeup of the HCC in a very complex cohort of patients in New York. As you can imagine, this is a very diverse city, so diverse etiologies for HCC. I have to say we didn't find much. If anything, really, it's simulated with TCGA. This is from the Cancer Genomic Atlas. And as you can see, the kind of, if you look at the pattern, the dirt, etc., kind of like flows the same way for the frequency. If anything, I'm bringing this up to say that there are two important conclusions. One of them is it appears to be that robust standard of care therapies like chemotherapy that are probably used as the fulcrum or as the synergizer for metabolomics or for tyrosine kinase inhibitors is not really out of fashion at all. If anything, this really might be what HCC needs because of data of that nature. But number two, to be fair here also, this might also tell us that HCC is a very different disease, depends where you are in the world and what kind of etiology you have. And because we have diverse population, probably we could not pin down anything over here. Actually, we have a national effort, a global effort currently happening where we are putting, and actually Taiwan is a part of it, we're putting the same genetic dissection 410 genes, but based on ecology and ethnicity from all over the world, trying to do some comparative work. So I think this might evolve that direction, but it doesn't mean that all comers kind of treatment might be valuable as well. So with this, I conclude. Sorafenib does prolong survival. This is only standard of care. Work in the second-line setting is still multifaceted. The regorafenib story, as I said, we just have to wait and see a little bit. ADI-BAC20, there is definitely a promising opportunity in the complex field of metabolomics, and this is not easy. Immunotherapeutics under evaluation. We cannot really read more than that into them so far. And the molecular understanding of HCC definitely require further investigation. So I'll stop here. I will take any questions. Thank you very much.
Does anybody have questions? If you want to ask that in Chinese, I can translate. Some of us have done an excellent job.
Thank you very much.
No question? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So as you can tell from the son's progress, making some progress. In the beginning of the drug development, you may feel like you're moving things forward at the speed of a glacier. But then we're moving things faster and faster. We don't believe we can move it at the light of the speed of the light, but then we're moving things forward. I remember at the third symposium 4 years ago, right before the son's presentation, it was like almost like a sign from God. We were sitting there, and then the son received an email and said, "We're good to go. We got clearance from the FDA on special protocol assessment from Memorial." So the son got up and presented and told us that we're good to go. We can enroll the first patient on Memorial. But that was 4 years ago. Today we presented the data on that study. At our fourth symposium 2 years ago here, we talked about what we want to do next. On the FOLFOX study with HCC, the son presented some data here. We also talked about 2 studies we wanted to start. One is on the pancreatic cancer, ADI plus paclitaxel and gemcitabine. The other one is on a mesothelioma study with ADI plus cisplatin and amitriptyline. So we're very happy to present the data here. We actually, Dr. O'Reilly has completed this enrolling of the patients, and we have data presented at the ASCO, and now we're making plans to move things forward with that study, and it's also a very promising study, a very promising results. John and I have visited with the son and Dr. O'Reilly both in 2008, and we have been working with them since then, and it's an honor and privilege to present to you Dr. O'Reilly. Dr. O'Reilly actually flying this morning. He was already worried about typhoon, and then they have to leave you in the afternoon before the typhoon really hits. So really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. Good morning again. Thank you. So it's a pleasure and privilege to be here today to present some of the data with regard to ADI-PEG20 and pancreas cancer. And to set the scene, I'm just going to discuss a little bit about the background of this disease, where we stand with regard to front and second line therapy, and then discuss the arginine depletion strategies. So I think some of you may be aware of these data, but pancreas cancer is on the rise, and it's projected to become in North America the second leading cause of cancer-related malignancy by 2020, which sort of says a lot. It's disproportionately high on the list of cancer-related mortality compared to the incidence list. It's not entirely clear why. Some of this is adoption of a Western lifestyle, some of it is exposures in terms of cigarettes, smoking, pancreatitis, obesity, diabetes, but not fully understood why we have sort of a looming public health crisis in this disease. Overall survival in terms of 5-year single digits is about 7%, but that's slowly increasing. Nonetheless, there are certain subsets of patients who undergo surgery, which is about 15% of people with pancreas cancer that can have 5-year survivorship. So this just illustrates the point that I was making in contrast to all of the other major solid organ malignancies such as lung, breast, and colorectal cancer. They're all on the decline, but pancreas cancer, about a 1%, 1.5% increase per year for the last several decades. So it's pretty striking when you look at it graphically like this. So moving up just a little bit to the genomics of this disease, it's a somewhat complex disease, although it's well defined at this point. There are 4 key genes that are reproducibly mutated and characterize this malignancy: KRAS, P53, SMAD4, and CDKN2A. And then there is a much lower frequency level of multiple other genes that are mutated in this disease. We have relatively few therapeutic targets from the genomic perspective, but DNA repair targets are high up on that list. And there's a number of pathways that are affected, and each one of these here has many drugs in development targeting features of these pathways. So why is this cancer so difficult to treat? Well, this is not well understood, but these are some of the putative explanations. That pancreas cancer is characterized by a stromal microenvironment that's relatively immune privileged. It provides a physical barrier against effective drug delivery. It is hypoxic and hypovascular, and as we mentioned, there are a number of gene mutations which are oncogenes which are not targetable. And as yet in this disease, we don't have any validated biomarkers for routine clinical decision making. So these are some of the reasons why this is considered to be one of the tougher malignancies. So moving now